All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. We're going to take a good look at the quantum sector, and my goodness, such an amazing run to say the least, all right? You hear me say it all the time. When you break a golden line resistance, amazing things will happen. And yeah, I can easily call that amazing, right? And it actually happened on IONQ as well. Look at that thing, right? QBTS, I think all, yeah, look at this thing too, right? QUBT, it's there, it's testing it, not quite over it, and that's something to definitely keep in mind. And then QSI, also not quite escaping, and something to keep in mind. Look, the first ones are definitely on the hotter side, all right? We're talking about a daily RSI in a 97, right? I mean, it's hot, but it is also a very hot sector, right? So it's our job to kind of decide what matters more, one indicator or other things surrounding it, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about. At the minimum, maybe it's worth looking at things with a little bit healthier of an RSI, right? Maybe things that are a little healthier RSI. Did I just do the same one twice? Maybe. I don't know. Worst case I didn't, but that's just something to keep in mind. All right, one thing I'm often asked, and hey, I promise you this is not bragging, this is actually some genuine advice. So look, the last video I made on the quantum sector was back in September 9th. A lot has happened since September 9th, right? Basically from there, RGTI was really the one that caught my attention. It was this candle right here on the 9th, and you can see, since then, right? I would suggest looking at what other people said around the 9th and see what strategy you like. Look, by no means am I saying mine's the one and this and that, right? I'm sure other people call this too. That's not the point of this, but just a food for thought. Like see how others did it, if they did it, and if there's a good strategy that you can take a little bit from there, take a little bit from mine, combine and make even better, and then come back and share with the team, right? Just throwing out a suggestion, but a lot of good to echo one last time. I think the important thing to look at right now is the NASDAQ. All right. This is not a good candle. All right. I don't like the fact that we completely lost all of yesterday's candle and then some, right? We actually almost lost the last two candles in a single candle, right? I don't like losing more than 50%, let alone almost two candles, right? That's not good. I know everyone was focused on the Powell speech and the aftermath that came from it. Hey, for sure, bad things happen in the afternoon, right? But this is actually the entire day, right? Today is the 23rd. All day the NASDAQ was actually coming down. It wasn't really just Powell that did it, right? So NASDAQ was running a little bit hot, and I actually mentioned that on yesterday's video, right? On yesterday's candle, RSI was a 9, like look at the box over there, right? A 94.42. This is an index. NASDAQ really shouldn't be going over 80. It for sure should not be going over 85, 90. I'm shocked that it was at a 94. You know what I mean? So to me, as bad as this candle is so far, this is an extremely healthy cool down, right? As long as we don't lose the 8 moving average, I'm even okay with one more red day bringing me down to 22.4, give or take, right? Take this 81 down to like a 70 something, and then let's go back from 70 something back to 85, 90, even maybe another 94 for all I know, right? But hey, right now, NASDAQ, not a good candle. All right, maybe signaling that it's going to come. And look, we've been doing it, right? We bounce on the 8, we bounce on the 8. I could see us do another bounce on the 8, right? If we lose the 8, hey, that's when my ears will perk a little bit and I'll adjust if needed, right? If you're looking at QQQ, it's the exact same thing, right? We might come down to 594. I'm really okay with that. I actually am, right? It's actually give or take another similar candle, right? We're gonna lose maybe another $4 to bring us there, right? I'm okay with that. If we lose that, hey, that's where I'll start, because all of a sudden I have to at least come think 590, right? But hopefully we're not thinking 20 moving average. Nonetheless, the point is these are very tech heavy stocks, right? S&P 500, not really the prettiest either, but in a lot of ways, I almost don't care about S&P 500 or Dow Jones, right? What really does matter is the NASDAQ ocean, right? That's the tech ocean that we're swimming in with these. Make sure NASDAQ doesn't do anything crazy, right? And hey, if NASDAQ healthy cools down, I might be expecting some of these hotter ones to healthy cool down, right? And in the back of my head, money's going to want to move where it's going up, right? So yeah, maybe Rigotti healthy cools down. Maybe IONQ, which is a 96 healthy cool down. Maybe QBTS, which is a 91 healthy cool down. But hey, maybe volume moves to QSI, which is only at a 74. Maybe it goes to QUBT, which is a 73. ARQQ, I haven't looked at this one in forever. Hey, this one actually hasn't made a too bad a move. It's in the 80s, not as bad. It's not one I wanted to cover. But look, there's a lot of quant tickers out there, right? So just because some are going to cool down doesn't mean they are. And yo, I'm actually watching this thing continue go up after hours, which does make me chuckle. And really what it does is it emphasizes the beauty of all-time highs. You hear me say it a lot. There's no better place for your money than all-time highs. Pushing a 97 while, making 10% gains while we're seeing the NASDAQ lose almost 1%. That's the beauty of all-time highs, right? So a lot to talk about on this opening thought. A lot more I do want to go about in the details. I at least feel a lot better than yesterday, so I feel like I can say more educated things. You know what I mean? But before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Excuse me. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So what a lovely run. Like, I have nothing else to say except what a lovely run, all right? It was this candle on the 9th right here. It was on Rigotti and on IONQ, both of them, that really caught my eye. It is it's the sole reason I made that video on the 9th right there. Both of them were over all 5 moving averages. They've been trying after trying, right? Literally, exact same thing, just trying. This was the one that seemed to line up. From there, they just both broke their golden line and ran. Obviously, it lined up with the FOMC rate cuts, right? Powell did his thing. We saw the all-time high push on NASDAQ. I mean, this is what beauty is. And again, why was this a golden line? Because there are no resistances. There's no educated place I can click here and say, yep, that's going to stop it. That's going to stop it. No, it's not, because it's blue sky loveliness. I'm looking outside my window in LA right now, and it's the same blue sky loveliness out my window, same up here. You know what I mean? So it is for sure crazy to be pushing a 97 RSI, right? We use these lower indicators to kind of keep us in reality, right? You know my videos, I'm not here to talk about diamond hands and squeezes, like, no, right? Like we're here to take this candle down here where the RSI was a beautiful 59. Look in the box over there, right? And we'll ride that 59 RSI all the way up to this craziness right here. And now is where we got to make some decisions, right? The best line I can probably draw is that 26.61 is probably the strongest point. I think the next one would probably be, I don't know if I would even use that 30.34. I feel like I have to use that. And honestly, that's not even that good a line. I'm going to kind of delete that. Look, in your back pocket, if you're in Rigotti, keep 30.35, something like that, and 29.50. 29.40 in your back pocket. If we lose 29.40, I think it'll actually be a quick fall down. I don't know if this 28.50 will be strong enough. Maybe it will be, because this red one actually closed up here. I know it's a red one, but it actually opened down here and went up here. It actually wasn't that's a good red candle. The filled in one is a bad. Like, there's two different ones for a reason, right? So maybe there actually is more strength up here. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna move the line to there. Because look, I don't know the math behind these lines, but I do think that that's still a pretty exponential go. I think we're gonna close in on that 26.60-ish that the like I just had it at, right? So don't lose 28.40. All right, the first real don't lose line is, like I said, 30.40, 30.30, something like that. If you lose that, you'll probably lose another 10% down to here. If you lose this 28.40, that's where I think I'd start to get worried. All right, as I say, start to get worried. Again, as long as you're over the 8 moving average, it's all good. All right. The problem is to go from all the way up here to all the way down there, where the 8 moving average will probably end up meeting, right? Give or take. That's not a good thing, right? But hey, taking me down from a 90 something back to like at least an 80 to a 70 something, and then right back up is what a healthy bounce looks like, right? I mean, there's not that many examples. This thing knows how to bounce, right? It knows how to bounce on up, on up. This thing's made good runs. It knows how to bounce on the 8 pretty well, right? So, yeah, as long as we're over the 8, it's all good. My slight concerns, and really it's going to be the exact same thoughts for IONQ. I'll just, I'll chapter it accordingly, right? It really is, I don't want to drop too much. I got to be careful as I'm over the 8, because we're a little bit high up from the 8. And again, NASDAQ is pushing some wild RSIs, right? I can see NASDAQ wanting to come back to the 8, do a bounce, and then go back up, and, probably want to time those accordingly, right? So RGTI, that's my main thought there. And really, like I said, it is very much echoed on IONQ. IONQ on the 9th right here. RSI was a little higher than Rigotti, right? This one was a 71 instead of that 59. But hey, we were able to ride the 71 all the way up to the silliness that we see. The even crazier thing is it actually looks like the lines are still diverging. And oh no, it's going down, not up. But like where Rigotti kind of looks like it's finally flattening out or like tapering, IONQ is almost like I still want to go up, right? Nonetheless, those are crazy high numbers. I think I got to take into account that NASDAQ is probably going to give us a little healthy cool down on its own. I think IONQ is probably going to do a little healthy cool down, right? And this one seems to be that line right there. That's the line. As long as this stays over $70, I'm at 74 cents, right? But as long as we're over $70, IONQ is beautiful, right? Beautiful. Maybe you can use 68 in your back pocket as the next line down. Realistically, that's probably where the 8 moving average is going to open tomorrow, if I had to even guess, right? That's basically a same slope thing, right? So 70 and 68 are my next 2 lines down. Look, with IONQ and Rigotti, we are in all-time highs. There is no resistance above us. So theoretically, we could get another good green candle because, again, there is no resistance, right? Where are we on the hourly? Just to look, in a lot of ways, that's still a healthy hourly. It's only a 65 RSI in the hourly and might go up for the first couple hours tomorrow, right? So the Rigotti is still in it's still in all-time highs. And again, same with IONQ. As I look at this hourly again, that's not that bad. It's still actually only a 68. Maybe it does still go up a little bit. And again, there is no all-time lows keeps going lower. All-time highs keeps going higher. You know what I mean? There's a clear place you're going to want your money, right? So I'm going to chapter these two together. Let me know your thoughts. You know what? QBTS, I think in a lot of ways is also in the same boat, so I'm going to chapter this together as well. Again, same thoughts, right? You can see the constant attack on this golden line. It wasn't as beautiful on the 9th, right? And I'm sure I probably called it out Yeah, you can see QUBT and QBTS were both on the yellow, right? Red, yellow, green is how I kind of do my things, right? But hey, that was still a good candle, and obviously the momentum of the sector, the momentum of everything else with it brought it over and then some. And hey, even if you just waited for the golden line to break, there was so much gains to be had afterwards, right? More than 50% looking at that, right? So again, based on different risk reward tolerances, you can do really well if you want to be a little more conservative. You can gain a little extra if you want to be a little more risky. It really, there's no wrong answer. It's what you're willing to tolerate, right? But QBTS, look, where are we? We are in all-time highs. There are no lines I can draw up here that's going to say educated guess says that's going to stop that. There's nothing I can use, right? Let's look at the hourly. Again, same beauty right here. This is still a 54 in the hourly. There's still a decent chance it goes up, right? But just in case it doesn't, because you know us, we're here to talk about both sides of the coin, right? That's going to be the strongest line. Maybe it'll be that. Maybe it'll be 25.70. But I think I'll use 25.25, give or take. I think that's going to be a good line. As long as we're over 25.25, things should be really good. From there, the next line's basically 24. I think this is still very, very bullish over 24 for sure. Dropping from 27-ish to 24, it's not a horrible loss. It's definitely a double digit, right? But, you know, there's things you can do knowing if that's going to happen, right? So RSI, again, is a 91. Hey, we saw those other ones at 96 and 97, so maybe this thing still has a little baby push in it, right? But, again, with NASDAQ kind of retreating a little bit, right? Let me just flash it one more time before I end this chapter. Right, NASDAQ looks like it could use a little bit of a cool down itself because, again, that's such a silly 94 RSI reading right there, right? So NASDAQ is the tech ocean. These are obviously tech-heavy stocks, so 25, 28, and 24 are our thoughts down. Hey, if this thing still keeps going up, there are no resistances up, right? So this is where we'll chapter this one. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Yo, I'm not talking about a bubble. All right, that's going to be the last thing I say. We will lose moving averages before the bubble really pops, all right? So as people start throwing this like quantum bubble, AI bubble, this and that, yo, dude, bubbles are for kids to have fun with, not for traders to be scared of because we have good indicators and technicals, all right? Maybe I'm a little biased and a little cocky and all that, but we ain't talking about no bubble. Get that noise out of here, all right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you even disagree with that, right? But you know I appreciate you so much. So let's look at QUBT and QSI. These are going to be the next two we're looking at. And look, these are ones you can, in a lot of ways, say they made a nice run in the same moments, right? It's not the crazy, numbers necessarily, but even as I look at this, it's actually not a bad number. Is it 50%? It is actually almost 50%, right? We added more than 50 cents. This thing was basically at a buck something. It did do a really good move here, right? QUT, sometimes typos do good things. Not that time. Even this one, right? We were down here in the 15s. This thing made its way on up to 23 something. That's a good 33% run right there, right? So these ones did do well like the other ones did. Why I like these two a little bit right now is because they have just a little bit healthier indicators, right? And I said it in the opening thoughts. I'm going to say it one more time here. Where the others might cool down because their indicators are a little hot, look, that volume is going to want to put their money somewhere, right? Like, they're not going to just go away and sit on their hands and wait, right? Some of them are going to look for something else. A lot of them are probably going to look in the same sector, and these are a little fresher. This 70 can still go up to 80, right? This 70 can still go up to 80, right? Definitely a lot of moving averages right here, but hey, you break all five and you fly. This one hasn't broken all five and flown yet, right? Rigotti did. That's good to know. IONQ did. That's good to know. QBTS did. Oh, this is an interesting one. I don't know this one. It's also pretty high RSI. Sorry. Again, typos sometimes do good things, right? We're looking at QUBT. Sorry, QBTS finally escaped them all and flow. And actually, let's even look at QUBT. This one has actually escaped all, hasn't quite confirmed well. Some, like, I probably would have said this did, right? That's actually a good candle. That's a doji, and that's a beautiful candle after. So, and then two dojis behind it really makes sense. I for sure would have said that confirmed right there. But the point of what I'm trying to say is This one still hasn't escaped all five and flown yet. We've seen the rest of the sector do it. That kind of makes me think this one's ready to copy it and go, right? So I think QSI and QUBT become the focus because, like I said, where those might cool down, volume might rush here and go, right? So look, I think the initial money line is going to be $1.70 on QSI. Get me over $1.70. You're going to get me over this biggest candle to the left. You're obviously going to get me over the 200 moving average. I'll start thinking 190. I'm even okay. It's not that big, but I'll lower it to 186. I think you break 186, and there could be some real interesting run to 3 right there. All right. As I look in this weekly, this is still a very, very healthy 47. There's a real interesting doji forming on a cluster of moving averages right there. There. Keep an eye on QSI. All right. As we look at QUBT, again, like I just said moments ago, in a lot of ways, I would have called this a confirmation. That's a good candle. None of those count. That's a good candle. The doji after, and then the boom, 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 right? Like that's a trading strategy I use regularly. You know what I mean? So actually even got over that. It was just a real tough resistance is all it was, but a moving average is doing the job. I'm talking a little fast right now, but yeah, break 2241 and I'm thinking all-time highs. If you want to make it a little safer, again, there's no such thing as safe, wait for 2330. Just break this big candle right here. You get over 2330 and there's not going to be a lot stopping QUBT, all right? Listen, I'm going to say it one more time. I do not believe in the bubble. All right. I don't believe in the quant bubble. I don't believe in the AI bubble. I don't believe in the tech bubble. I was not smart enough. I was a kid during the dot-com bubble. All right. I like saying bubble like this. You know what I mean? But yo, we have indicators, we have moving averages. In the Discord community, we have other indicators. We have, my boy right here talks about Elliott Wave all day. I don't even understand Elliott Wave, right? We've got Bollinger Bands, Fibonacci's, this and that, and all those stuff, right? So we're an educated group that can use some indicators and technicals to make sure because hey, there's always a possibility. There's no such thing as no, and I for sure could be wrong. But if the bubble pops, we're going to see the needle coming to the bubble, not the pop and the oh my that comes after it. You know what I mean? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Even if you disagree, it feels good to not be sick anymore. Hey, have a good one, everyone.